Guys, this year we launched an initiative for young adults, 1630. This is outside of reaching a million Christians. This is my most exciting project that we're doing at Christians Engage, reaching 16 to 30-year-olds. And today I'm going to introduce you to my young adult director with Christians Engaged, Abby Sexton. Abby comes to us from Oklahoma. She served in the state legislature. She worked as a proofreader for bills and laws, and then worked for 2 state representatives there. She went to university in Arkansas. You're going to love this girl. She loves Jesus. She loves politics, all the things I love. Stick around for Abby Sexton. Welcome to the Conversations with Christians Engaged podcast. I'm your host, Bunny Pounds, the president of Christians Engaged. This ministry exists to awaken, motivate, educate, and empower ordinary believers in Jesus Christ to do 3 things: to pray for our elected officials and our nation regularly, to vote in every election to impact our culture, and to engage in some form of civic education or involvement for the well-being of our nation.
I'm so thankful, Bunny, for what you do. A lot of people talk the talk, but you really walk the walk.
There's nobody else I want to talk to about Jesus with than you.
And I will stand and lock arms with this woman of God, Bunny Pounds, any day of the week.
Bunny, you are a new hero of mine.
And I'm 100% behind something that Bunny Pounds is doing. Encourage her, pray for her, and be involved. Be part of Christians actively engaged.
America is worth it. Now is the time. America needs your involvement. Please take our pledge to pray, vote, and engage. Join with a movement of other Christians that are doing these 3 simple things that can really impact this nation. Join us. Okay, guys, we're here. Yes. 1630 is here, our young adult outreach. So, Abby, it's so great to have you in the studio with us.
Thank you, Bunny. I'm so excited to be here.
Woohoo! Well, the day I met you, I was like, this is the woman. I had a lot of applicants for this job, but I was like, you are the one. Because of your heart for politics, but also your heart for Jesus and your heart for young people. Why do you think this is so critical that we start an outreach, really taking what we built with Christians Engaged, but gearing it and marketing it to the next generation?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I think that we have young people across the country who are really struggling with an identity crisis.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young people who they're being told by the world and by the culture, by social media, this is who you are, this is what you should be. And that may align with what they grew up with, or it might not. But they are being thrown things all the time, more so than any other generation, because we have so much access to all these different perspectives that we didn't before.
Yeah.
And so they are really taking that all in. Young people are so, empathetic, and they just take things very personally. And so, it's hard for them when they're being told so many different things. It's like, what do I believe? Where do I turn to? And so that's really vital, is that we turn them back to biblical values, to a biblical worldview, and say, this is who Jesus says that you are. In Isaiah, it says that I know you, I have redeemed you, I've called you by name, you are mine. And so that's who they are. But the world is telling them that that's not true, that that's not, the cool thing anymore, or, there's just all these different perspectives that they should look at. And so I think that's a huge thing that we get to do with Christians Engaged with the 1630 initiative, is really point them back to the Lord. But there's also a lot of apathy out there too, of going, well, why does it matter? Why does government matter? Why should I get involved? But it really does affect every single aspect of your life, even as a young person. I think a lot of young people think like, oh, that might affect me down the road, but that's so not true. It affects you now. Any place you volunteer with, anywhere that you work, where you go to school, everything in life is affected by government and the choices that are made by the people who lead us and represent us. So I think that we're really here to be able to light a fire under people.
Well, and a lot of people don't know that our government's run by young people.
Yes.
They are all there in the state legislatures, in our U.S. Capitol. If you go into your member of Congress's office, or you go to your state legislature, you're going to find everybody's under the age of 30.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love you because you're like the every woman, right? Like you're just so humble and sweet. But I can just see people going, okay, if Abby can step out and do this in the Oklahoma state legislature, then I can. I mean, you don't have to be a superstar,
No.
right? What kind of got your heart around, hey, I want to do politics and government and started taking you down that path in the first place?
Yeah, so I grew up really loving politics and government. I was homeschooled through 5th grade, and that was something that my parents really taught me a lot about was government and history. My parents both love history, and I, as my mom said, like I just loved it. I picked up on it so fast. I had a presidential bumper sticker on my Barbie Jeep and would drive it around the backyard one election year.
I love that.
And so I loved it from a young age, and was so inspired by history and learning about our founding fathers and the Civil War. Just everything that's happened in our country is so important. And so, yeah, so I've always loved it. But then going to college, I really wanted to major in political science and history. And leaving college, I just loved politics. I was so passionate about it. Again, I saw that the world was trying to convince a lot of people my age in college to believe certain things that just weren't true. And I was always convicted that that was not right, the things that they were pushing, and saw that there was a way for people to embrace, that freedom and that hope that was just not being preached to them. And so I've just always been passionate about those issues and really wanted to be a part of that process. I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like, but I ended up at the Oklahoma State Legislature and loved getting to do that and work for the constituents, really. I mean, I'm working for my representatives, but I got to work for the people, too, which was a really, really awesome thing to get to do.
Well, first of all, props to your parents for being cool and hip and actually teaching history and government. Homeschoolers, thank God for homeschoolers. But yeah, you went to private school, public school, homeschool. You got it all.
Yeah, I did it all.
That's pretty fun. So when you saw the job that we had for this young adult director, what attracted you to even applying, actually?
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading that job description being like, oh my goodness, I think this is for me. I mean, it literally was the Holy Spirit in that moment, honestly. There was no other explanation for that. But yeah, I just remember reading it and being like, okay, this is a chance to get to reach young people. I think, again, so many tactics are being used that don't line up with some social conservative values that I really care about and the Bible stands for. I just see that being pushed so much. And I thought this is such a chance to get involved in this and get to be a part of that movement of helping young people really understand their identity and how they can be involved and how they really can make an impact. That's what I'm most excited about. Is getting to help young people understand their purpose, what gifts the Lord has given to them, and then how they can go out on mission and really live that out. And so that's what I saw as an opportunity, was to get to help these young people on their path to glorifying the Lord, to impacting America, because these are our future leaders. And so that's what's so exciting to me, is get to be a part of that now early on in this generation.
Okay, so Abby, this all started in this crazy, weird way. I was in Midland, Texas, meeting with some ministry partners, and we were having like a meet and greet. And one of the ladies there asked me, just randomly, we were doing a Q&A, what's your heart for young people, and how would you see Christians engage reaching the younger generation? So all these ideas just started coming out of me on the fly. I'm like, I want to take young people to DC with us. We've started this DC trip. We were about to take our first trip in 2023. And I'm like, I would love to take some young people on there with scholarships. I would love to get them involved with their own podcasts. I would like to give them scholarships for our classes. I would like to get them into the pledge more and start marketing them as part of our Million Christian project. And all it takes is funding for that. I need funding. And this lady, bless her heart, she kind of started the catalyst for that. She ended up not being the one that funded the major portion of it, but she got us going, writing out the plan. And I'm so thankful for her. And that led us to taking 6 young people in 2023 on scholarship. She ended up paying for 6 young people. And then another family came alongside and said, we want to go in all in for 1630. We didn't even know what we were calling it at the beginning of this year. And we got to take 26 young people on scholarship and a couple half scholarships as well. Wow. Abby, can you talk about the DC trip this year? That was amazing.
Yes. Oh my goodness. It was such a blessing. I loved getting to be really hands-on with those young people. They are just fantastic. I just adore them. By the end of it, I had a couple of them calling me Mama Abby. It was so sweet. I felt like their mama a week. Some of them were my age. Some of them were older, with some married with kids, but I still felt that way. And so getting to interact with them and really see how the Lord has gifted each one of them. And they all have really unique callings that I got to visit with each of them about. And just seeing like, man, like the Lord really made each of these people so special. and they're going to do such big things. And so it was just amazing. It was so great getting to see them really thrive in that city because a lot of them hadn't been before. And so they got to go and really see our nation's history and government in action. And they were pretty taken aback by it, like surprised in a good way of how it, is just so impactful to them. And I had one of our younger guys by the end of the trip who said, I came into this really feeling a lot of kind of fear and just apathy toward things and just didn't think that our country was going in a good direction. He said, but actually being here and interacting with legislators who are truly like living out their biblical values and who really care about the job, that they're not all, these corrupt whatever, that they actually care about what they're doing, and that we have groups like Christians Engaged who care about the people and want to get them more involved. He said, I left with so much hope. And so that's what I want each of these kids to leave with, each of these young adults, is to understand that there's so much hope for them and for our nation. And I think a lot of them really left feeling that way.
Yeah, and we had a whole bunch of applicants. We chose them who has a ministry call, who has a government or political call in their life, kind of where their relationship with the Lord was. Is this somebody that is going to be a leader in their generation? Can we invest? It's not cheap, like $2,000 a kid to invest in them going to D.C. for a Pray, Vote, Engage Day. But they got to meet members of Congress. Senator Ted Cruz spoke to them. Congressman Keith Self flew back to D.C. to have dinner with us. I mean, they got the treatment, right? Tim Gagline on our board from Focus on the Family. It was just amazing. So many speakers that they got to interact with. And then not only that, but tour the Museum of the Bible, the Holocaust Museum, the Capitol. It was amazing. We had kids even from different states.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many states were represented?
I don't know exactly how many, but we had like Wyoming, Illinois, California,
Arizona.
Yeah. So, we had people from all over. It was not just Texas people by any means. We had a really great group of some diverse people. It was great.
It was a great group.
Yeah.
And so we have this crazy vision. We want to take a whole bus this year, right?
Yes.
So this year we had half the bus was young adults and half were paying other adults. And it was, I hated it for the older adults because it seemed like every speaker started drilling down to the young people, right? And we had to keep them focused. Hey, talk to the whole bus.
Yes.
But we want to take a whole group, 50 young people this summer. Why do you think that's going to be so impactful if we can do that?
It's just going to be huge. Them getting to, again, interact with our legislators, getting to see history in action like that, getting to get to know each other and really fellowship with people who are like they are, who believe the same things, who are like-minded, where they can learn from each other and gain some confidence to go out on mission after they leave the trip.
Yeah.
It's just going to be absolutely amazing if we can start doing these trips with these young people. I think they will get so much out of it, and we will see a return on that investment in them. We absolutely will.
And then they want to learn more. So you're leading a class even this fall. You've been leading a class on Ramp to Civic Engagement with young people on Zoom, and they're going through the videos and stuff. How do you think that that DC trip stirred up a hunger for them to want to learn more?
Yes, it definitely did. We have some who were on the class with me who went to DC with us. And so that really got them excited to really leave there, not just leave DC going, okay, that was a great trip, but going, okay, how can I actually apply this to my life moving forward? What are some practical steps that I can take moving forward? And so our classes are a really great way to start doing that because it really takes you through step by step, more, in depth of how you can get involved, why it's important, and then how you start doing that. So yeah, we've had some of them participate and they've been fantastic getting to do that. And so yeah, they're getting to really live out the mission that the Lord has called them to, which is really awesome to see.
Yeah, and we had one young man who's already on city council in his city, and then we've got a couple more that want to run for office. They're gearing up to run for office in the future. So it's gonna be fun to watch their lives, and now we get to be in their life. And they kind of called you Mama Abby on the trip, right?
Yes.
You're an old soul, Abby.
Yes.
You're 27. She's so old, right? But how did that make you feel to get to be in their life and start mentoring them on that?
It was amazing. That first day was our pray day, and we went to the Museum of the Bible, and we were talking about intercessory prayer with Dave Cabal. Mm-hmm. And I was at the very back of the room, and I remember just feeling the Holy Spirit calling me to pray over all the young people in that room and just praying for their future, for the impact that they were going to leave on our nation, and how I was going to get to be a little part of that journey, maybe small or big. But man, it really impacted me personally. The whole trip did, not just them. But yeah, so I think that's just going to be a huge thing moving forward for us, is getting to keep praying for these kids and getting to help lead them into the calling that they have. And so, yeah, the trip was just
Well,
phenomenal
we're
on many
both tearing
levels.
up too, because we had a moment at David's tent where I
Yeah.
was praying. At David's tent, we were having more prayer on the pray day. That's what we do, is pray on the pray day. And I just like started praying for the next generation. You joined me, and it was just a great moment of
Yeah.
our hearts coming together for
Yep.
the next generation.
Yep.
It's critical, guys. John 14, Jesus said, "Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in me, believe also." This is the deal, is God has a plan. Like, we don't know all the pieces of the plan, but he actually cares about each generation, right? He cares about our generation. He cares about the next generation, and he's not going to leave them abandoned. And I know we have a lot of older people that watch this show and interact with Christians Engage, and that are frustrated, like, what's happening to the next generation? But is God big enough to reach them, guys? Yes, he is. He is big enough to reach them, and he wants to reach them, but we have to be willing vessels. So we've got a lot of things planned for 2025, Abby. And this podcast series, we're going to be talking to some of these young people
Yes.
that have gotten into the Christians Engage world and are speaking at our conference and all this stuff. So tell us just a few of the projects that we're working on for next year.
Yes,
for this project.
absolutely. Well, we're starting our own podcast, 1630 podcast. That's going to be phenomenal. I'm going to be the host, so please
Yay!
watch.
Go.
Yes, it's going to be great. So yeah, getting to really talk to young people and talk about the issues, talk about biblical worldview, and all kinds of really cool things. And that's going to be a really great project that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, and so we're going to continue offering our classes for free to these young people. We really want to get them plugged into those. They're really valuable.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of really great content and great information that they can get and apply to their lives outside of that. Beyond that, we also have our social media that just launched. That's been exciting. And so we hope to keep growing that and get more, again, info out there into the world for people to watch and see. That's really important for these young people, to have social media, to be able to see what we're about and who we are. And so I'm excited for that. But our DC trip is going to be a really, really big thing, 50 young people. And so that's something that I'm really looking forward to. And so we want as many people to, apply and hopefully be part of that as we can get.
Yeah. So if you're under the age of 30 right now and you're watching this, go to ce1630.org. That's CE, like Christians Engage, 1630.org, or go to our christiansengage.org website and click on Young Adults. But it'll lead you to the same place. You can apply for free classes. You can apply for the DC trip, just a lot of stuff on there. But ultimately, Abby, this is about discipleship. And really, that's what Christians Engage is all about. We talk about pray, vote, engage. Those are the three weaknesses in the church we're trying to strengthen. But ultimately, we're discipling people into their place of leadership, right? That's what we want, whether we're 65 or 80 or we're 13 or 16. That's what we want. So what's your heart for that, to see these young people find their place in history? Or there's so many places where they could impact the federal government, state government, local government, county government, and to really find what are they passionate about and put them in their place. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. I think mentorship is going to be a big part of 1630, getting to work with them and help disciple them. Again, figuring out their identity first and foremost in the Lord, figuring out their gifts, figuring out their calling. He has a unique purpose for each person. So helping them really navigate that and figure out what that is. It may be an issue that they're passionate about. It may be the pro-life movement, something like that. There could be an array of things. And then helping them get plugged in with our family policy councils across the country.
Yeah.
And helping push them there, because then they can actually actively get involved. That could be advocacy on legislation related to the issue that they're passionate about. That could be working on a campaign. There's so many different ways to help disciple them in this and help them to get involved. And so I'm really excited to get them out there to practically be involved, not just say, hey, great, so glad that we got to meet, and then we move on. I want it to be an investment in their lives and really be a part of things moving forward, and really walk with them. So yeah, that's definitely my heart is discipleship with all of these young people. That's honestly what I'm most excited about moving forward.
Well, and let me just say, I hear a lot of times people go, where's the new Christian coalition? Back in the 80s and 90s, we saw Ralph Reed and Pat Robertson, all this, political fervor, get Christians involved. Well, it can't look like the past. It's got to look different. And so that's what we've done with Christians Engaged, is try to create different apparatuses. And we're not perfect all the time, believe me. We're constantly learning and evolving. But this is also a way we can start engaging with young people, get them involved, and start moving them to their place of influence. And we get to be a part of this, guys. It really is becoming a major part of this ministry. I think it's going to continue to increase the budget for this in the years to come. So, if you're like, wow, I'm really just enthralled by this conversation, and you listen to these young people that we're going to be displaying the next 3 weeks, and you're like, I want to start investing in this, go to our website and designate it for 1630, and 100% of your donation will go towards this young adult program, okay? Because it's extensive. I mean, we've got like a $300,000 budget for next year. It's not a small budget just for this program. Right. So anyway, we need your help. We would love your help on this program. So as we're after the election and all that's over, now we're looking to the future. This never stops, guys. We don't ever stop. I mean, we can't just be stuck in a 2-year election cycle. We've got to be thinking about building our bench of leadership and constantly building the future. And that's what we're always thinking about here at Christians Engaged. So, Abby, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just any young people who are on here, or if you know a young person who wants to get involved, please, come our way. We would love to work with you. And that is my heart, is for young people and getting them involved and getting them plugged in. And so I just would love to get to chat with anybody who wants to. We got a really, extensive list of exciting things coming up. And so I just want as many people to be a part of it as possible. But the Lord really has called people in this generation. Each generation that has existed, the people in it have been called to that time for a reason. That's what it says in Esther, right? That Esther was called at that time for a specific reason. And he has called each and every single individual to that as well. And I think a lot of times that we think that, well, I'm just one person, or, I can't be like those people in the Bible. Well, those people in the Bible were all really broken people that the Lord used and equipped to fulfill his purpose. And so we all are given that same opportunity. It's just whether you take it or not. So we really want young people to get involved and get plugged in and understand that the Lord has a calling on my life, and I can really make an impact and do something. I don't have to just sit on the sidelines. I can be part of something bigger than myself. So that's what I'm really excited about.
Exactly. And so, and one of the things, projects I did this last year, guys, was I did my whole book, Jesus and Politics, in audiobook, because I know that my 20-year-olds will not read my book. So just know you can buy the audiobook of Jesus and Politics, One Woman's Walk with God in a Mudslinging Profession, for your young people too, okay? Because I know a lot of them like podcasts and audiobooks, so tell them to introduce them to Conversations with Christians Engaged, Abby's new podcast when it comes out in January. But just go ahead and go on 1630, ce1630.org, or go to our Christians Engaged website and find the Young Adults tab and get involved with this and share it with the young people in your life. So, well, Abby, thank you so much for joining us. And we're really excited about this series. This is going to be awesome with these young people.
Yes, thank you, Bunny. I'm so excited I got to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible podcast. What a time we've had. We love you so much. We love being in your life. Have you subscribed? Have you shared this with your family and friends? Please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you get your audio or video pods. We need your help. This mission is undergirded by individuals just like you that support this ministry monthly, annually, and whenever you think about us, to be able to reach over 1 million Christians in the next 2 years. That's our goal. We want to empower 1 million Christians around America to pray, vote, and engage regularly. Will you help us? We're here to do that, and we need your help. I want to say thank you to our partners at The Stream. What an incredible online publication put out by James Robinson and Life Outreach International, as we come together across denominational lines as believers to discern what God's saying about the news of the day and to hear from different viewpoints. Check out The Stream, make it your homepage, and get on their email list. This product is amazing. Also, our partners at Edify app, put out by Christian Post. This podcast app is a convergence of Bible teachers around America. We're excited to be a part of Edify app. Check out all their other podcasts. Thank you so much again for caring about this nation. We're here to help you pray, vote, and engage. We'll see you next week.